Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, bringing out the suit and tie for the first time this season. And it's for a good reason, as we have the first ranked versus ranked matchup of this 2020 college football season. And if you had told me a few months ago that one, the first ranked versus ranked matchup wouldn't take place until week 3, and two, that the ranked versus ranked matchup would be between the 17th ranked Miami Hurricanes and the 18th ranked Louisville Cardinals, I would have told you you were crazy. But yet here we are, the Hurricanes and the Cardinals lining up this Saturday night for the biggest and the best game of week 3. And we are here to break down everything you need to know for this game. And at the end, we will share our official prediction for who will escape Louisville with a crucial ACC victory. So before we can really start talking about what's going to take place on Saturday, we need to talk about what happened last week, as Miami and Louisville both took down very respectable Conference USA opponents. We'll start here with the Hurricanes. They took down UAB last Thursday, defeating the Blazers 31-14 behind 337 rushing yards. So the Hurricanes lit up the Blazers in the trenches, were able to really move the ball well with Cameron Harris, and their new quarterback, DERIQ, the transfer QB from Houston, clinched his 16th straight game with both a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown. King obviously going to be a huge factor in this game for Miami. Louisville, on the other hand, they're coming off a 35-21 victory over Western Kentucky. They put up 487 yards of offense against the Hilltoppers and held Western Kentucky to just 248 total yards in that game. That includes just 129 total passing yards from former Maryland quarterback Tyrell Pigrome. So you look at those two performances, guys, very, very impressive. Western Kentucky and UAB, both Conference USA favorites going into this season. So to defeat both by double digits, to defeat both and be comfortable well into the fourth quarter, not really stressing those games. Very great job by both Scott Satterfield and Manny Diaz. Last year, between Miami and Louisville, the Hurricanes defeated the Cardinals 52-27. That was behind 6 Jarren Williams touchdowns. That's a name we haven't heard in a while. But 6 Jarren Williams touchdowns for Miami last year, and the Hurricanes were able to capitalize off of 3 Louisville turnovers. Obviously, something that's going to be a huge factor in this game as well. Louisville and Miami both really going to need to take care of the football, because if they do not, the offenses will certainly make their opponent pay for it. So let's take a look at both sides of the ball here. Let's take a look at Miami and Louisville's offense going into this game. Then we're going to take a look at their defense. And the thing is, each of these teams has only played one game. That's it. Usually in week 3, we would have seen at least 2 games by now. Maybe 3 if they played in week 0. We don't have that opportunity now. So it's kind of hard to look at any trends from each team. We have one performance from each team to base this analysis off of. So we're certainly going to do our best and really try to break down as much as we can from as much as we've seen so far from each program. On offense, I think these two teams match up perfectly. On paper and physically, I think these two teams will meet each other step for step, play for play on Saturday night. You have a fantastic quarterback battle between DERIQ of Miami and Micale Cunningham of Louisville, a guy who just threw for a career-high 343 passing yards against Western Kentucky. You have Cameron Harris, the running back for Miami, while you also have Javion Hawkins, the speedy running back for Louisville, a guy who's also very dangerous in the passing game as well. And then you look at those pass catchers, guys. Miami has one of the best tight ends in all of college football in Brevin Jordan, while Louisville has 2 fantastic wide receivers in Tutu Atwell and Des Fitzpatrick, who put up 110 yards and a touchdown on just 4 receptions last week. So the talent is there for both teams, guys, where the offense really shouldn't struggle all that much. I expect a lot of points to be scored in this game. It's really going to come down to your quarterback play, though. Many would give DERIQ that edge just because of how well he played at Houston And now he has a game under his belt at Miami and a game under his belt under Rhett Lashley's new offense. Rhett Lashley, an offensive coordinator that was responsible for SMU's resurgence last year, where the Mustangs averaged over 40 points per game. Another thing you have to look here, though, on the offense, guys, is can Miami continue their ground success? They played so well on the ground against UAB because DERIQ King wasn't doing that great through the air. DERIQ King is a guy that has to improve his throwing ability. He's very dangerous on the ground. That dual threat ability is what made him one of the most coveted transfers in all of college football this past offseason. But when I watched him play UAB, King was not very accurate, was not hitting well on the deep balls, and missed plenty of wide open receivers. King has to fix that. The question is, has he fixed it in just a little over of a week's time? So that's going to be a huge key in this one. Where is King's accuracy? Where is it? And will he be able to stand in the pocket and deliver the throws when they need him to? Because he cannot win the game solely on the ground. For Louisville, the same thing. I believe Micale Cunningham can make those throws as long as he makes good decisions. He threw an interception against Miami last year. He threw an interception just last week against Western Kentucky. He has to take care of the ball. But can Louisville get any success going on the ground themselves? After Miami held UAB and Spencer Brown, one of the better running backs within the Conference USA, they held the Blazers to just 80 total rushing yards in that game. So that's going to be a key here. And when you look in the passing game, guys, while I do believe Miami owns that wide receiver edge, that pass catching edge, Louisville holds that passing edge and that wide receiver edge. It may be Miami that owns that quarterback edge with DERIQ King, especially when it comes to that dual threat capability and trying to escape the pocket and extend play, something that DERIQ King did extremely well with in that win over UAB last week. We take a look at the defenses now, guys. A lot of big keys here as well. Now, it's kind of been a tale of 2 years for both of these teams. Now, again, it has only been one game for both of these programs. But last year, despite going 6-7, Miami still had a top 15 defense. They had one of the top 15 defenses in the entire country last year. And a lot of that you have to credit to Manny Diaz, the former defensive coordinator for the Hurricanes. We knew that when he took over as head coach for Miami, that defense was going to remain strong. That is his forte. That is his area of expertise. And he did not let us down when it came to that area. Miami did look a little shaky last week on defense. A lot of penalties bailed Miami out of, allowing up some big plays. UAB, very undisciplined last week, and had those penalties not been called, not only would UAB have been able to put up some more points, but their stats would have looked a lot better as well. Louisville, on the other hand, had one of the worst defenses in the ACC last year. They did go 8-5, so record-wise they were better than Miami, but they allowed 33.4 points per game. 33.4 points per game. They allowed over 200 passing yards and 200 rushing yards per game as well. After watching the Cardinals play against Western Kentucky, I would say that defense has improved ever so slightly. Keep in mind, many will say, you allowed 21 points to Western Kentucky. That doesn't sound too improved to me. Well, let's take a look at how Western Kentucky scored those touchdowns. If you watch, their first touchdown came because they recovered a Louisville fumble on the 1-yard line. Western Kentucky punched in from 1 yard out. The Hilltoppers later blocked a punt, scored a touchdown from 4 yards out, took them 2 plays to get there. And the other touchdown they scored, the drive began on the 37-yard line of the Cardinals. So every drive for Western Kentucky began inside Louisville's 40-yard line. 2 of those drives began within Louisville's 5-yard line. So they did allow 21 points. Sure, a lot of those are in credit to special teams and offensive mistakes. So I really wouldn't put too much stock into how poor the defense played. Allowing a team to put up less than 250 yards, holding a team to just 129 passing yards, I think is a pretty solid performance defensively from the Cardinals. Now you look at this. What is the key for Louisville defensively? We just kind of criticized their offense and their special teams for the reason that they allowed so many points last week, and really it wasn't all that much. What is the key for Louisville in a game like this? To me, it's to pressure the heck out of DERIQ King. We know that Miami had one of the worst offensive lines in the country last year. And while they looked a little improved last week against UAB, it really wasn't all that impressive. DERIQ King didn't go down that often last week. He was pressured very often, but he didn't go down that often last week because he was able to escape the pocket with his legs and either extend the play or pick up the yards on the ground himself. If you had a pure pocket passer, UAB would have racked up way more sacks last week. So that's obviously a pro for Miami, that if their offensive line fails to do their job, DERIQ King can hopefully extend the play or make something out of nothing. And that's a con for Louisville in that regard as well. But if you can keep DERIQ King in the pocket, if the Cardinals can keep DERIQ King in the pocket, I'm not entirely sure that I'm confident in King's ability to make the big throws when he needs to. So Louisville's key is going to make sure to keep him in the pocket. Don't let DERIQ King escape. Don't let him extend plays. Don't let him run all over you. He had 83 rushing yards and a touchdown last week against UAB. If you keep him in there, I'm not entirely sure King can get the job done, and that will certainly make Louisville's defensive job that much easier. For Miami, the key for them is to limit the big plays. If you have watched Louisville all of 2019 and the one game last week against Western Kentucky, you know that under Scott Satterfield, like he did at Appalachian State as well, Scott Satterfield's teams rely on that home run ball, that home run play that picks up huge chunks of yards. We know Louisville has a lot of talent offensively. We know they have a lot of speed offensively. We saw that last year when they took off against Miami. Sure, they lost by 25 points, but Louisville had 7 plays of 25 yards or more against the Hurricanes in 2019. That included an 80-yard touchdown and a 58-yard touchdown as well. Just last week against Western Kentucky, Louisville had 5 plays of 25 yards or more. That included a 70-yard touchdown from Micale Cunningham to FITZPATRICK. So Miami's defense has to be prepared for those home run balls, for those deep shots from Micale Cunningham, from a breakout run from Javion Hawkins. If they're not prepared for that, Louisville's going to put up a lot of points. They're going to put the points up quickly, and you're going to wear down that offense. You're going to wear down Miami's offense because they're not going to have much time in between each drive. Louisville's not a team that likes to go on these slow, methodical drives. Louisville's not a team that tries to own the time of possession. They're going to go out there, and they want to make you pay quickly, and they want to score as quick as possible. The more points, the better in Scott Satterfield's mind. So limit those explosive plays if I'm Miami. You've got to make them really slow down. That's really the key here. Slow Louisville down. Make them play at your pace. Make them play at your pace. Do not allow them to score as quickly as they have in years past, at least in recent games under Satterfield. So that's your key defensively, guys, for both Louisville and Miami. Very different, obviously. Louisville trying to win that battle in the trenches, something that I think they're very capable of doing. Miami just trying to cover the entire field here because Louisville's going to break out at least, I would say, 3 or 4 plays of 25 yards and more. And I'm going to go out on a limb here. They connect on a touchdown for at least 50 yards in this game as well. So our final prediction going into the biggest game of Week 3, the first ranked versus ranked matchup of this 2020 season. If you watched our Week 3 predictions video, you know that we are picking Louisville in this game. But why? Why are we siding with the Cardinals? First, I believe there are a decent amount of points scored here. We mentioned that when we broke down each team's offense. I believe you do see quite a bit of points scored here. I think each team eclipses at least 28 points in this game. I will be shocked if they do not. Both of these teams have the offenses to accomplish that. Both the teams have the talent and the speed and the size to accomplish 28 points or more and hanging in there and meeting each other step for step. But right now, I think Louisville has just a little too much more offensively than Miami. I think from their quarterback position, their running back position, and the pass catchers, that's the key. It's the pass catchers, your wide receivers and your tight end, and maybe even your offensive line as well. Not as a pass catcher, but in terms of protection and providing time, Louisville owns that edge. So I like Louisville a little bit there. I like they have a slight home field advantage, and I think it's the Cardinals. They get a late score in this one to finally put the game away, and Scott Satterfield's squad starts off 2020 2-0 and will be a top 15 team going in to Week 4. We knew coming into the season that Louisville could be that sneaky good team within the ACC, and this game is going to prove everyone right. So guys, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. As always, make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below as well. We have exclusive content on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Sign up for that weekly newsletter, sign up for those expert picks, and check out everything on our Patreon account as well to get some exclusive college football content that will never, ever be posted here on YouTube. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.